Hey guys, it's Licious here from ClimaxCombo, and we're back with another Leaks of the Week. I know it's been a long time since we've had one, but I apologize, but this is due to just being busy in life, busy with school. Me and Checkers have a lot of midterms in the last couple of weeks, so we've been really busy with that. And I have started spring break, but I've been really busy with just helping out my parents around the house and just moving a lot of things. So yeah, but finally, I have some time off today, so I will be trying to catch up in Leaks of the Week today and tomorrow. So, yeah, um, this this week, and I would just say in general, this month is going to consist mainly of Milky Holmes because I believe it's the only set being announced this month. And this Milky Holmes booster, I believe, is being released on the 26th. So, a good while of Milky Holmes. This week, like I said, because it's extremely delayed, it's going to be from March 2nd to March 6th, so the first week of March. So, yeah, I guess with that out of the way, I'll just get right to it. So first off is a 3-2-10K double R Eddie, Eddie. She's detective and books. First of all, she combos with this gold bar here. What she does is when she's playing from hand to stage, draw up to one card, and this card gains plus 2K until the end of the turn. And next up, once again, it combos with the gold bar here. When this card reverses its opponent in battle and the Climax Slumbering Library, the gold bar, is in the Climax zone, you may send that character to its owner's clock. And the gold bar itself is a Climax rare. So this Eddie is quite interesting. First of all, she has a new on-play effect. I believe this is the first of its kind. An on-play where you only draw one card, however this card gains plus 2k power. Quite different from the generic draw to ditch one. The draw to ditch one is better or each one has their pros and cons. The draw to discard one, the normal one. The upside of that one is you get to draw two cards clearly, and then you discard a card. You do plus one, but you do have to discard. However, the fact that you draw two cards makes it so that it's more lenient on what you get to discard, and the discard may be beneficial to you at times, especially if you want to discard a climax. And also, drawing two cards allows you to dig deeper through your deck in case you want to draw clutch climax combos like clock shoot, climax combo, etc., etc. However, this Eddie is only draw one card, but however, in exchange, she gets plus 2k power, which is not bad at all, because she definitely needs the power for her Climax combo. Her Climax combo requires her to reverse an opponent's character to send that character to its owner's clock, and of course, the 2k power that she gains from her on-play allows her to make it that much easier to Climax combo, because the turn she's played, she'll get plus 2k. You gold bar, she gains 1k 1 soul from the gold bar itself. She'll be 13k base before assist with the gold bar combo. So pretty cool on play effect. I think it's actually pretty neat. And yeah, something new. It's not crazy or anything, but it's new. It's cool. It's always nice to see new on play effects. So I think this Eddie is very good. Just because Milky Holmes game ending wasn't the worst. I think their best game ender was this card. I believe this card is the Halloween PR is the healer, and it has to burn one when you swap levels, and she successfully reverses. I believe this was their main game ender in the past, and it's good. However, with how the meta has shifted a little lackluster compared to current game enders as of right now. So, Milky Holmes gained access to an extra game ender in the form of Clock Shoot. It's not bad. Clock Shoot, you can never go wrong with Clock Shoot. Clock Shoot always clutch, always annoying, and always a menace. Such a threat. Always makes you think twice about leaving a weak character in the front row. So yeah, Clock Shoot, excellent, cool on-play effect, and yeah, can't go wrong with this card. Overall, very, very solid, and I think very good. I don't think green's a bad color for Milky Holmes either, so it shouldn't be too hard to splash this card into your deck if you do want to run green. So yeah, excellent card overall. And that's it for Monday. And the art's pretty cute on this card. Next up, Tuesday, once again, more level 3. So first off is this 3-2 Cordelia, I believe is her name. Yeah, I don't actually watch the anime or anything, so I have no idea who these characters are. But anyways, 3-2-9-5, double R once again, Cordelia, Detective and Sports. When she's playing for hand to stage, heal 1. However, she has another effect. This ability can only be activated once per turn. When you place a card into your level area, you may pay cost, which is 1. If you do, look at the up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and place the remaining cards back to the top of your deck. Let's see, from the way it's worded, it appears you must add at least 1 of the cards to your hand should you choose to look at any. Oh, okay, interesting. I didn't know that, but that's good to know. So, Cordelia 3. I think this Cordelia is really good, or not really good. Yeah, I would say it's really good because first of all, she heals, and her second effect is actually pretty good because if you guys are not familiar, Milky Holmes gimmick slash mechanic, the set revolves around them constantly putting cards from their level zone or putting cards in their level zone from the waiting room. You essentially swap 2 cards. Oops. You swap a card in your waiting room with a card in your level up zone with certain card effects, and when you do so, certain cards gain certain effects, much like this Cordelia. When you do use your effect, you get to essentially look at top 2 cards of your deck, and you add 1 to your hand, and you put the other one on top of your deck. May not sound that good for a level 3 because she does heal, and it's essentially a +1 when you do when you swap cards in the level zone. You pay 1 and you plus because you gain 1 card to your hand just for the cost of 1. However, what I think makes this card really good instead of just pretty good is the fact that you can use it in conjunction with this card, the PR. If you guys are not familiar with this, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know what this card is. It's a pretty infamous card. So what this card is, it's a 1025. It is a backup. It's a 3k no cost character backup. However, the quote unquote downside to this card is that you must choose a climax in your waiting room and put it in your level up zone, and then a card in your level up zone goes to the waiting room. So that is the downside to this card. You must put a climax from your waiting room and put it into your level zone. So that is the downside. So this Cordelia, when you do the level swap, you get to look at 1, add it to your hand, leave the other one there. So during your opponent's turn, when you do decide to use the 3k backup, you can pay an extra 1 and look at the top 2 cards. You can add a character on top of there to your hand and put the other one there. Since you're taking 1 card on top of your deck to your hand, that's 1 less damage you are taking. So it makes it that much harder for your opponent to kill you. So if you're at 3-6 and you have a Cordelia, even though you don't need to back up to kill the opponent's character, you should back up anyways because that way you could look at the top card of your deck and add 1 to your hand, making it so that you are more likely to cancel. So yeah, just because of the fact that you can use it in conjunction with the PR backup to make it so that you're more likely to cancel is what I think makes this Cordelia really cool and really interesting. So yeah, it's healing. It heals. And it has a nice effect that allows you to survive longer into the game. So a very defensive card, I think. Doesn't do any game ending, but it heals and it makes it harder to kill you when you use it in conjunction with the 3k backup, and it pluses you every time you do so. So yeah, interesting card, I think. I think it's really cool. It's a really neat way of them utilizing the Milky Holmes mechanic into their gameplay. So I think it's a really cool card. Will it be used? I don't know, because the Halloween PR already heals, and it game ends. This one already game ends, and this one is another game ender. And with how the meta is nowadays, surviving is a lot harder. So will it be used? I think it will be, but you never know. So, but yeah, but nonetheless, I think it is a solid card, and I do think it's cool and interesting, and the art is once again pretty cute. Next up, let's go on. 2-2 events, sudden attack. Choose up to 1 Yukata Dress Cordelia or Overdrive Kita Izumi from your hand and play it into any board on your stage. Then place this card into memory. The Yukata Dress Cordelia, as you can guess, is the level 3 that you saw earlier. So if you get this Cordelia out at level 2, and you constantly spam its effect with the level 3, 3k backup, it'll make the Cordelia very hard to kill, and also it'll make it much more difficult for your opponent to deal damage if you decide to use the pay 1 effect at level 2. So yeah, another good part about this card, I guess. I actually don't know what this card is. Overdrive Kita Izumi. Yeah, I apologize. I actually don't know what this other card is. So, if you guys do know what this other card is, do let me know. But I guess I'll do a Google search, I guess. Okay, I can't. Yeah, whatever. Don't know what this card is, but if you guys do know, if it's an old card, let me know, because as of right now, I don't know what this other card is. But nonetheless, it's a fairly solid event because you can pull out the level 3 Cordelia. And like I said, the level 3 Cordelia is pretty good. The only downside to this card is that the Cordelia that you bring out must be from your hand. Makes it a little more difficult, but honestly, Milky Holmes has so much salvage, it shouldn't be that difficult to accomplish. Also, this card goes into memory, making it your compress a little better. So, in general, if you do decide to run a playset of Cordelias, can't go wrong with playing one or two of these sudden attack events. But definitely, I don't think you need to run this event in conjunction with the Cordelias. If you want to run the Cordelias and you don't want to run any events, I think that's perfectly fine. Anyways, let's go on. 1045 double R Cordelia, once again, Detective and Sports. What she does is when you have 2 or more detective characters, she gets plus 1k, so she hits vanilla power. And she has another effect, she combos with the book here. When this card reverses its opponent in battle, and you have the book in play, search your deck for up to 1 sports character showed to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Somewhat generic climax combo, but okay, well, first of all, it's a 1055, which is pretty good. All you need is 2 detectives on the field. The main typing for Milky Holmes, as you can guess, is detective. As you can see, Cordelia is a detective, and I believe this Eddie is also a detective. So detective being the main trait, honestly, this should always be a 1055. It has a very, very solid climax combo because when you reverse an opponent's character, you get to search your deck for a sports character and add it to your hand. The only, I guess, downside to this climax combo is that you have to search sports characters, and I believe Cordelia is the only sports character in the series. If I am not mistaken, yeah, this Eddie is a book. I think Shadow is sweets. Nettle is something else. I know a couple of them are sweets. I know they're detective and something else. So the fact that she can only really search out herself is a downside. Doesn't make it as versatile as something like the Tachibana Climax combo from Nisekoi, or maybe the Shimakaze Climax combo from Contact Collection, of course. But still, nonetheless, is a very solid Climax combo. I think there's a couple solid Cordelia cards. I know there's the 10 double R, the one that gets a lot of power every time you level swap, and it has experience 2 or something. I believe that Cordelia is a very solid level 1 card, and I think she has a couple solid level 0s if I'm not mistaken. And this Cordelia itself, the 10, is solid, and the level 3 itself is fairly solid as well. So if you do decide to run a lot of Cordelia in your deck, definitely, I think you should definitely consider this climax combo because it's definitely solid, but I don't know the entire pool of sports card to give this card a fair judgment. But as a standalone climax combo, I do think this is very good. So yeah, awesome climax combo, and the climax is the climax rare. Is it just me or are these climaxes a little not like clear? They're a little fuzzy. Oh well, like the level 3s look so nice, and then the climaxes kind of look all not high quality. Oh well. Anyways, let's go on. So Wednesday, first of all, this is 1145 uncommon police and weapon. Hirano. What she does, she's an assist in front. She gives police characters in front of her 500 power and clock encore. This card is a fairly interesting card. It's a 1145. So it hits over the 3k threshold, which is always nice to hit over in case you're ever playing against this Gaia. Not very relevant nowadays, but always just something nice to have. So 1145, it hits decent power, so it'll be pretty difficult for your opponent to kill this. And it gives 500 plus 500 in front, and it gives your characters clock encore. Just the fact that it gives clock encore to characters in front makes this card already quite annoying for your opponent to deal with. And yeah, if you're running a police heavy deck, then I don't think you can go wrong with this card. However, like I said, Milky Holmes, the main attribute being detectives and all, maybe, of course, it will only be used in the police heavy decks. I don't know if that's a thing. All the decks I've played have been consisting of the detective characters, so I don't think it's too popular, but I could be mistaken. But nonetheless, or unless this booster brings out a lot of good polices, this card might be more relevant. But of course, staple in your police heavy decks. However, if you're not running a police heavy deck, don't consider it. More polices 1035R, Tsukiko, police and weapon. What she does is when she's a level 1 suicider, when this card is reversed and the level of the card battling opponent is 1 or lower, place that card to reverse. Of course, her being a police makes it quite annoying if you're playing in conjunction with the 1/1 because you have a 1/0 level 1 suicider that has clock encore. Sounds awesome and all, however, do keep in mind you're going to be taking a lot of damage because you're going to be constantly clocking yourself to encore this level 1. And if your opponent has like hand encore or clock encore it's as well, or has a plus level assist, then you might be in for some trouble. But still, some pretty annoying shenanigans you can do in conjunction with these two. Of course, this being a level 1 suicider is also good as well because you can run this level 1 suicider in your normal builds. Most of the Milky Holmes cards are detectives. However, they're not very. I don't believe they're very like trait dependent. It's not like it's not like Nisekoi where they specifically say key characters. I don't think they're not really like that. They have experience and they give plus power when you level swap. They don't really revolve around all the traits as heavily as something like Love Live or Nisekoi. So I think you can splash this in normal decks because it's still a level 1 Suicider and you can't go wrong. So yeah, definitely a good card. Level 1 Suicider is always a welcome addition to any set. So yeah, awesome. Next up, it says 002KR Police Headphones. What she does is, when she's played from hand to stage, you may pay cost, which is discard a card from your hand. If you do, look up the top 4 cards of your deck, choose 1 police character amongst them, add it to your hand, then discard the rest of them to the waiting room. These cards have been popping out nowadays. Where they come into play, and you discard, and you look at top 4, you add 1 to your hand, you discard the rest. Akatsuki from Contact Collection, that a lot of players are choosing to run that. Idolmaster does have that effect now, which is also good as well. So this new effect, or this somewhat new effect, has proven to be quite useful. So definitely a solid effect. However, since it can only search polices, of course you're only going to be using this in your police heavy decks. So yeah, staple in your police decks, but if you're not running police decks, just like the assist, don't run it at all. Next up, let's go on. 001500 double R, Detective and Police, Hime Yuri. What she does is when you play Climax on your Climax border, choose one of your characters that gets plus 1k until the end of the turn. And it has another effect of pay 1, put this card to rest, mill top 4 cards, and for every climax you hit, perform the following action once. Choose 1 card from your clock, return it to your hand, and place the top card of your deck to your clock. So essentially, plus Brainstorm, however, you only grab it from the clock. And yeah, this card, super awesome. Kind of double R worthy, not really, but first of all, it's a plus Brainstorm. I don't believe Milky Holmes had a plus Brainstorm at all in the past. In the past, they only had spammable Brainstorms. And yeah, this is the very first plus Brainstorm introduced to the set, and a plus Brainstorm is always welcomed in any set. So yeah, just because it's a plus Brainstorm, I do think this card will be staple. Or not staple, but okay, I'm going to say staple. Yeah, staple in your Milky Holmes deck, just because plus Brainstorm is just too good to not run. And also, it has another pretty solid effect. Play Climax, give a character plus 1k. Not the greatest effect, but definitely not a bad effect. A very solid secondary effect. So plus Brainstorm, and the fact that when you play Climax, you could give a character plus 1k until the end of the turn. I guess the only downside to this is that, of course, since it is a plus Brainstorm, if you do want to use the Brainstorm, you would have to pay 1 and put her to rest. I believe a lot of the cards that level swap, like, yeah, a lot of the cards that level swap require you to tap 2 characters in the back row. And since you have to tap 2 characters in the back row, you can't really use it in conjunction with the Brainstorm because the Brainstormer is going to tap itself, unless you want to play over it or, yeah, or minus yourself in some shape or form, or making yourself lose an attack. But yeah, still that's the only real downside I see. But you know, you have to compromise. Either you want to plus for the turn, or you want to level swap to give your characters extra benefits. So yeah, just a little something to keep in mind. But still, I do think it's definitely a solid card because you can't go wrong with plus Brainstorm. So yeah, kind of sucks as a double R Brainstormer, but you know, Milky Holmes players been wanting a plus Brainstorm for a very long time, I'm sure. So I'm sure they're more than happy that they got one finally. On to Thursday. Oh wow, 20 minutes? Okay. On to Thursday, the Phantom Thief's day. 002KR Phantom Thief Mask. When this card plays from hand to stage, you may pay cost, so just pay one, clock yourself. If you do, draw a card. First of all, the Phantom Thieves, I believe they kind of revolve around each other. Yeah, they kind of revolve around each other. So the Phantom Thieves do require a lot of Phantom Thieves. So when you play a Phantom Thief deck, you kind of need to have a, you know, if you're running Phantom Thieves, you kind of gotta run a lot of them. So yeah, the Phantom Thieves, 002KR. This one is okay because you pay one, you clock yourself, and you get to draw a card. You pay one clock, and you get to plus. Of course, paying one and clocking yourself to search out a card like Riki or Inazuma is a lot better. But still, I guess it's not the worst because you still plus. You only pay one on clock and you get to draw a card. She's not detective or police or anything. She's Phantom Thief. However, she's a level 0 and she does plus you. So perhaps techable card in the normal builds. Probably, maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Milky Holmes has a lot of good tech cards already. However, still something to consider because it is still a pay 1, clock yourself 2 plus, can help you hit level 1 faster than your opponent, and you still get to plus in the end, and helps you pay out climaxes, etc., etc. So, playable card, I guess, for the level 0 game, but I don't think it's going to be mandatory. But still, not the worst card ever. Next up, let's go to this guy. He's a 3/2 10k R Phantom Thief and Mask Commander Violet Shadow. What he does, when he's played from hand to stage, you can look up to X cards from your top of your deck and choose one of them to your and add one of them to your hand, and discard the remaining amount. X is the number of Phantom Thief characters you control, or characters with Alice in their names you control. It has another effect of this ability can only be activated once per turn. When this card reverses his opponent in battle, you may pay cost, which is pay 3, discard 2. If you do, place this character back to stand. First, this card is quite interesting. He is a double attacker, and like I said, Milky Holmes' game ending is a little lackluster nowadays just because they kind of really depend on this Halloween PR, and this Halloween PR is not the strongest game ender in today's meta, but still, so this guy, he's cool because he gets to double attack, and double attacking is always awesome because double attacking is a really strong way to end the game. However, first of all, he needs, well, actually no. I thought he required a full field of Phantom Thieves to actually double attack, but he actually doesn't. Interesting. Well, I guess let's see. First of all, his first effect, it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest just because you need to have Phantom Thieves on the field. Of course, if you're running a pure Phantom Thieves deck, then this is good. However, if you're not running a Phantom Thieves deck, then all this guy really does is look at one card on your deck. And I mentioned that because he can actually be used in the normal decks because he has a non-climax combo related game ending ability. When he reverses his opponent's character, all you do is you pay 3, discard 2. Yes, heavy, of course, however, for good reasons. It's not tied to a climax combo, and you get to double attack, and double attacking is awesome. So yeah, this guy is actually fairly interesting. He's a very solid R in my opinion. Just because of the fact that you can use him just for double attacking is great. If you're using, of course, if you're running a Phantom Thief deck, this guy is going to be staple. He is your main game ender. But now that I think about it, he can actually be used in normal Milky Holmes deck because he can still double attack and is non-restricted and no climax combo related. So, very interesting card. So yeah, very solid card. I didn't think about that before, but now I realize that is actually kind of cool. So yeah, very solid R in my opinion. Will it be used? Who knows? I'm not a Milky Holmes player, but I do think it is worth considering just because he is a double attacker without a climax combo. And yes, heavy, yes, but still double attacking. If it's going to win you the game, then why not? So yeah, cool guy. Much better than I first realized. So yeah, definitely cool card. Next up, 001K, uncommon, this guy, Totsugawa, Police. This card gains the Phantom Thief trait on the stage, and he's a 500 global for Police and Phantom Thief characters, and he has a change where you discard a card. Oh no, you place this card into waiting room. During the start of your draw phase, you can pay cost. If you do, choose Pink, Phantom Thief, Pink Lovely Doom from your waiting room, and place on the original border of this card. Of course, that card being this one, 065, Phantom Thief Mask. This card gains the Police trait while on the stage. And when this card is played from hand to stage, place the top card of your deck to the clock. Of course, this guy, girl, yeah, it's a girl, right? Well, okay, whatever. This character is 500 global for Phantom Thieves and Polices, which is super awesome. He works for your Police deck, and he works for your Phantom Thieves decks. So this guy is already really good if you're running either of those two traits. And he has a pretty decent change. If you're going to run the Phantom Thief / Police deck, you can consider this 1-0 because she is an oversized level 1. She's a 1065. However, of course, she does have a demerit, and her demerit is actually pretty painful when she's played from hand to stage. You do have to clock yourself 1 damage, which does hurt a lot. Of course, if you do change into it from this level 0, then you don't clock yourself because this card is played from your waiting room, and thus you get to play around its demerit by not having to clock yourself. So of course, if you do draw in your opening hand, if you draw into any of these level 1s, you discard them, mulligan. If you draw any level 0s, then during your draw phase, of course you could change into level 1 and then dominate the field at level 0, which is always nice. And of course, since she is both Phantom Thief and Police, you can use in conjunction with the level 1 Clock Encore giver, making it so yeah, that she can be quite powerful because if you have her in the back, she's 7k, and you have this guy in the back, she gets another 500, so she's a 1075, and she will have Clock Encore. So yeah, not a bad card at all, definitely for the Phantom Thief / Police deck. And of course, you can use in conjunction with the level 1 Suicider to make it all that much more annoying for your opponent to deal with. So yeah, cool card. But of course, sucks drawing into this late game because at level 3 you're definitely not going to play this. It becomes completely dead. So a little iffy, but I don't know what else the Phantom Thieves have to offer / Police deck. So the Phantom Thief deck or Police deck doesn't have anything better. Then of course this will be your go-to level 1. And on to Friday, more level 3. So first off is this 3/2 10k R Alice. What she does is she heals. And she has another effect of when this card declares an attack with the climax duo deduction, which is the win trigger here. She gains choose one of your other detective characters. It gains plus 3k in the following ability until the end of the turn. The ability of this can only be activated once per turn. When the damage of this card is cancelled, you may deal 1 to your opponent. This card is quite solid. It heals, which is nice. It has a fairly solid climax combo. This climax combo of gaining plus 3k and gaining flare trigger is not that uncommon anymore. The level 3 Rin from Little Busters have it. The level 3 Protagonist from PQ has it, and probably a couple others. Just I can't think of at the top of my mind. But yeah, but now we have another one in the form of this Alice. The only I guess odd thing about this climax combo is that you do choose one of your other detective characters, and then that character gains plus 3k and the following ability. She can't give it to herself, which is a little odd, but no big deal to be honest. Still, you still give plus 3k and you have flare trigger for the turn, which is always good. So solid climax combo, and it heals, so a very solid card in general. However, it works in conjunction with this level 3 Kazumi here. This Kazumi is 3/2 10k R. Oh wow, these are only Rs? That's crazy. Anyway, 3-2-10K Detective. What this does is it has experience. If you have aspiring to be a Detective Alice and aspiring to be Detective Kazumi in your level area, this loses one level in your hand. And has another effect. When this card is front attacked, look at the top card of your deck and either place it on top of your deck or leave it into your waiting room. This Kazumi I think is actually pretty interesting. I think it's fairly good. First of all, for her to come out at level 2, you need to have this level 3 Alice and this level 3 Kazumi in your level up zone. Honestly, shouldn't be very hard to accomplish at all because with all the level swapping shenanigans that Milky Holmes has at its arsenal, uh, shouldn't be difficult at all to accomplish this condition. So its condition is super easy to fulfill, and it has a very nice secondary effect in my opinion. When it's front attacked, you look at top and either place it there or put it into waiting room. Generic. A lot of cards have this effect by now, like the level 3 Senjo Gahara from Nisamono, the level 3 Homura, the level 3 Iori, the level 3 Hayate, etc., etc. A lot of cards has this effect by now, and to be honest, I think the effect is pretty good. It helps you cancel more damage, or helps you guarantee, or it guarantees you the cancel. So yeah, the fact that you can have this out early at level 2, I think is pretty cool because first of all, it's 3-2-10K. Of course, it's gonna and 2 soul. It's gonna be difficult for your opponent to remove this card because it's 10K base. It's smacking your opponent for 2 soul, and it kind of puts your opponent at an awkward position. If your opponent tries to push for damage, it might be difficult to do so because of this Kazumi secondary effect of top checking and milling yourself one or scrying yourself one essentially. So the scry one helps you take less damage and can make it difficult for your opponent to push you to level 3 if you have 1 or 2 Kazumis out on the field at level 2. So yeah, Kazumi, I think it's an interesting card. I guess the only downside to this, or I guess, yeah, the downside to this is that you need to be running a lot of Alices and a lot of Kazumis to make this consistent, I guess, because you need to have one of each in your level up zone. If you're only running like 3 Alices and 3 Kazumis, having one of each of them in your level zone, you're essentially only playing with 2 Alices and playing with 2 Kazumis in your deck, and it might be a little difficult to get Kazumi off at level 2. And honestly, if you don't get Kazumi out at level 2, then she becomes really bad. Like at level 3, she's a really bad card, but at level 2, she's a really good card. So yeah, to make the card more consistent, you would have to run multiple of this Alice's and multiple of this Kazumi. And if you're running a lot of these Alice's and Kazumi, it's going to be taking up a lot of space for other good level 3 cards like the Halloween PR, the level 3 Cordelia, or even the level 3 Eddie, or the level 3 Nero, the one that combos with the gate from the other booster. I'm not too sure what booster that one's from, but I know a lot of Milky Holmes player runs that level 3 Nero. I think that's her name. I'm not too sure. The one that combos with the gate and salvages and gives plus power. But yeah, just cause. So yeah, that's the downside to this card. But still, I think it's definitely worth considering. And the fact that these are both R's, I don't think you can complain because they're both very good R's. You can totally base a deck off you can make a deck off these 2 cards, and they're only R's, so you can't complain. They're gonna be fairly cheap as well. So yeah, very, very solid R's. And lastly, they have another card that synergizes with these 2. I should say synergize with these 2 characters, not these 2 cards. So it's a 2/3 backup. It's uncommon. What it does, it's a backup, of course. Choose up to 2 characters with Alice in its name and up to 2 character cards with Kazumi in your waiting room, and return them in any order on top of your deck. If you return a total of 4 cards this way, choose 1 battling character. It gains the following ability till the end of the turn. This card cannot deal any damage to players. So this card, fairly interesting. First, well, as you can see, the good thing about this card is that you can totally negate damage from a character by making it so that they can't deal any damage to you for the turn. However, the downside is that it's pretty heavy. It costs 3 stock, but well worth 3 stock. However, the downside to this is that you must choose 2 Alices and you must choose 2 Kazumis in your waiting room and put them on top of your deck. first of all, this makes it so you have to run a lot of Alices and a lot of Kazumis in your deck to make this more consistent, because if you only run like 6 Alices and like 3 Kazumis, let's say, it's going to be fairly difficult to get this card off, because if you triggered a couple, or if you have a couple of these cards in your hand, then if you don't have enough targets, then this card becomes essentially dead. Also, the fact that if you refresh and you don't have any Kazumis or any Alices in your waiting room just because you refresh, then this card becomes dead as well. And lastly, since you are putting the 2 Alices and 2 Kazumis in your waiting room to the top of your deck, if your opponent has another attack waiting for you, then it guarantees 4 damage that you're going to be taking. So yeah, a lot of the pro to this is, of course, you don't take any damage. However, it's not as good as, let's say, the Little Buster's anti-damage one, because this one has a couple conditions of A, you need to have Kazumi's and Alice's in your waiting room, which can be played around if you refresh, if your opponent forces you to refresh first, or you just don't have enough Alice's or Kazumi's to use this. So yeah, not as good. And also, if you do use this, then you're gonna screw yourself. Like, if your opponent has another attack coming, then you're pretty much dead, because that's 4 on top of your deck that is guaranteed damage. But of course, I guess the upside to that is that if your opponent has 3 attacks, they attack once, they attack twice. On the 3rd attack, you use this backup. You place, like, let's say 2 Alices on top of your, you place 2 Alices to the top of your deck. You get to control what you draw, and if you want to draw into, let's say, this level 3 Alice, you can do so. You can put this level 3 Alice on top of your deck and draw into it. And if you want to draw into the other level 3 Alice, you can clock yourself and then guarantee the fact that you're going to draw into another level 3 Alice, and that way you have 2 level 3 Alices in your hand. You can play both of the level 3 Alices and then play the Climax combo, and then boom, try to kill them from there. But of course, you know, oh man, Skype. Anyways, but you know, that's all situational and, you know, might not happen. And like I said, there's a lot of downsides to this card. However, if you're running yellow, if you're running a Alice heavy or a Kazumi heavy deck, like let's say your deck is revolved around these two, then of course definitely give it a shot. It does have a lot of downsides. It does have a lot of conditions that makes it a little difficult. And of course, it's not as good as the other anti-damage backups. However, still, it's anti-damage, so you can't go wrong with it, and definitely worth considering if your deck is built around it. So yeah, totally, it's an uncommon as well, so you can't complain. So yeah, if you have enough Alice and Kazumis, I recommend running it despite the difficulties you can run into. So yeah, solid card. And lastly, the wind trigger. It's a Climax common, and once again, it just kind of looks a little like not as clear as the other ones, not as clear. Low quality, I should say. Oh well, just kind of bothering me. But yeah, that is all for this week. A fairly long video, and for very good reasons. There's a lot of very interesting cards this week. Like this level 3 Eddie, I think it's super cool, super awesome, super cute. Cordelia, awesome, cute. Solid level 1 Climax combo. Interesting cards for the police deck. If the police deck is actually pretty good, let me know, because I'm not too sure myself. Double R Brainstormer, that plus is always good to have. Phantom Thieves, I actually don't know if the Phantom Thieves are good, so if they are actually good, do let me know. But I've never played against a Phantom Thieves deck, so I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. And this level 3 guy is interesting because he's a double attacker. And lastly, an interesting pair of level 3s. Yellow, not the strongest card, or not a strong color in Milky Holmes, but perhaps this booster will change things, so we'll just have to keep an eye out for yellow. And if you have a couple yellow cards just sitting doing nothing in your box, might as well make an Alice / Kazumi deck, because why not? But anyways, that is all for this week, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I do apologize that this video is very late, but I will be trying to catch up with next week and this week fairly soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and until next time.